Planeswalkers, and welcome to another edition of the Hive Mind. My name's John, some circles known as Orzhov Dunn. Today I am joined by a very prominent member in the community. This is, I guess, the equivalent to a mythic rare Planeswalker. Planeswalking in all the way from Austin, Texas, where he's probably sweating as bad as I am. We have the Magic Man, Sam. Sir, thank you for joining me.
Hey, how's it going, John? I'm happy to be here, and definitely not too sweaty because there's AC in this house, which is very, very great. I'm very grateful for that.
Excellent. Yeah, I guess in some, when I hear there's like no AC, especially I have a lot of friends up in Seattle, they're like, yeah, we don't have air conditioning. I'm like, but it's summer too sometimes, right? That's crazy.
Yes, eternal summer here, so I think every house is sort of built with AC. I think that's the first thing they do, actually. Before they lay the foundation, they make sure that the swamp cooler is established, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's always a nice balmy 74 in this house. But as we do each and every week, we like to find out your Magic origin story, sir. So let's dive right into it.
I started playing Magic around the beginning of, I guess, the middle of 2012, right before Return to Ravnica came out, after the M13 core set came out. It was literally just a buddy and I. We had 2 weeks before our final semester in college started, and we were just driving around kind of bored, like, what should we do today? And I had the weird idea to go to to go by Target and buy Magic cards, because 10 years prior, my cousin, who was very influential on my development and my nerddom and whatnot, he used to play Magic, and as a kid I never understood it fully, but I just liked everything he did, so I kind of went along. So yeah, my buddy and I, Spencer, are driving around Boulder, Colorado, like trying to figure out something to do right at the end of the summer. So I suggest Magic. We pick up a couple of intro decks, and he at the time was working with a guy named Kirk, and Kirk was super into Magic, so it was super helpful for us to have like an interest in the game, but also a mentor who could sort of teach us how to actually play, because, you know, like the intro decks can only do so much. So once that happened, he invited Kirk over. We started playing. I figured out all the rules. I got super, super into it, and Kirk invited me and Spence to play with his buddies who who basically just play Cube and EDH, casual kind of guys. And I went headfirst into playing Commander and Cube. That's kind of how I learned in like the Hellfire. So yeah, that started back in 2012, and then I took a break for a little bit and came right back in 2013, a year later, and I've been kind of at it ever since. So that's sort of the beginning, the inception of all of it.
Excellent. So yeah, and I know I've been following you for quite a while. You've had the channel running for about 4 years now. Is that right?
Yeah, it was 2013. Like I said, I got back into it, and I started making videos sort of simultaneously as I was learning how to play, because I was very interested in making sure that I had a creative outlet for everything I was doing, because that's kind of how I operate, I suppose. So they sort of worked in tandem. I was watching a bunch of Magic videos, and I wanted to make my own, as well as learn, kind of the ins and outs of the game. So that, yeah, not long after the channel started up, and it's kind of gone through a bunch of ebb and flow, but the last year, I would say, has been sort of me finding my niche and working super, super hard at it all the time. So yeah, I've kind of hit the ground running finally with the channel after a couple of years.
Absolutely. And so you said the initial idea for the YouTube channel was just to kind of document your learning curve while doing it, right? And I do recall some of those early videos. I think there was like a Niv Mizzet deck tech, right? That was one of your first ones.
Yeah. It was Nin the Pain Artist. That was one of my EDH decks. Yeah. And I also played a blue-red, like silly, standard tempo deck that I really, really loved playing throughout all of that standard during Return to Ravnica and Theros. I know you interviewed Kevin from the Rogue Deck Builder. That's sort of how I met him, because I made this deck and he took it and he made a few changes and did a few videos for Gathering Magic with it. And then not too long after that, I actually met him in person up in Fort Collins. He came out here for a PTQ, and we we knew each other from the very beginning. He's always been a good friend. So love Kevin. Shout out to him.
Yeah, I can't wait to. He's actually coming to Grand Prix Las Vegas, which I think you are as well. So I have kind of a mandate set with Kevin and Tasty Snackies and all them. So that's going to be awesome. So yeah, I've become pretty close with Kevin, so it's going to be nice to see him in person as well as meet you as well, sir.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. Super excited for that too.
The channel's gone through quite a bit of iterations, like you said, so and it's definitely hitting its stride now. I kind of done a 48-hour, and you know, I follow your stuff all the time, but I did like a 48-hour Magic Man Sam boot camp, and I just kind of, you can really go down the rabbit hole on this channel, which is incredible. And one video, dare I say, kind of goes, it just segues perfectly to the next. And so from pack lores, artist studies, and card studies, what kind of, you know, made you pick these areas?
I think it was sort of seeing that there was a big absence in just general content creation, not just YouTube, when it came to the arts. And there was a couple of interviews I've done. I've said before that, like, it's initially the art that sort of draws us into the game, whether you're 8 years old and you're seeing these cards for the first time and you're hooked, or, you know, you're late into college or your 20s or whatever. I think there's an initial grasp from just being attracted to the game's aesthetics. So it's weird to me that goes to the wayside once we learn how to play it. You know, it's like, ooh, I really like the look of this game, and then you start playing and you realize the gameplay is amazing, and then everything else goes to the wayside. So the goal of the channel is just to like slow down and appreciate something that I think is often overlooked, which is art, because, you know, there's like tons of people around the world that are making their livelihood out of creating images for the game. So I think it's useful to pay some respect to that. And the feedback that I've gotten from videos or from viewers of the videos has kind of like reinforced that. It's like, man, I really love the art, and I don't know how to talk about it, so your videos are helping me kind of assess art on a sort of general scale. So and that's just me being, you know, fascinated with art and interested in that too. So those, like I said, those work in tandem. And then the card studies are more of just kind of for fun sort of retrospects. I really do like documentary style filmmaking and content in general of any sort of discipline. So that's my attempt at that kind of style of stuff.
What's kind of your process of choosing cards and artists for essays?
The artists have, you know, I've only done like maybe 8 or 9 artists so far, and those are all artists that I just really like myself. So it's pretty easy. Like if you just like somebody, it's fun to do a video on them. As we go along and I start taking down more and more artists, it might just be a matter of popular like request, or it might be because they've been very, very influential in the history of the game. Like there's just a plethora of artists that haven't even scratched the surface. Yeah. So luckily I still have quite a few artists on the list that I just like, and that's usually where it starts. It's like, man, I really, really, really love Vincent Proce's artwork. Let's take a deeper look at it and see what we can say about it, you know, in detail. So that's where it starts. The cards, I try to isolate a card that represents a bigger idea in the game. So the Pithing Needle video I did, Pithing Needle itself isn't that like miraculous of a card, but it sort of opens the discussion about what should be in standard and what should be printed and like game design philosophy. Sure. So a lot of those card study videos touch on game design because they're representative of an idea that's relevant either to, you know, the current meta or the current situation, or just has like a really fun, unique history. Like Birds of Paradise, the whole inception of Birds of Paradise was that it was an accident, that it was a card that was made by accident, and then it's become like a very iconic card throughout the course of history. So it's fun to dive deep into those stories, you know. And my argument essentially is like, you could probably take any card in Magic and isolate it enough to make a good story about it. So that's kind of what I'm doing with those too.
And dare I say the card studies are a bit more whimsical, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's good to have a sense of humor about it. I can throw in some jokes here and there. Yeah. It's for sure because the card studies is like, for an artist study, if I know the artist is going to watch the video, I don't want to disrespect their work, you know. So you kind of want to put it under a good light and just talk about the good things, and it's sort of like a highlight and a you know, paying homage to their work, whereas the card studies can be a little bit more mimetic and silly. So
yeah, and I mean, Thragtusk is probably my favorite. The ending of that is quite an explosion and not safe for work, dare I say?
Sure, yeah, you're right. I edited a little little bit, and Blake Rasmussen still put it on the Mothership homepage, nice. So I think we passed the censorship, but I think that embodies sort of all of our reactions with that card. I don't know, maybe I'm speaking too much for everyone, but...
No. And your card choice is like, it's like you asked me first or something. It's like, what cards do you want to see, John? And I'm like, yeah, Thoughtseize, of course, one with nothing, so I like, we're on the same wavelength as that goes. So, yeah, and like you said, just kind of going back to, the art, and that's the face of what we see, right? And a lot of people love the gameplay, like you said, but other people really gravitate towards the story as well. And like you said, yeah, the art is kind of that third, cog in that wheel that people kind of leave by the wayside. So I've never had so much fun going through a booster pack than when you're going through, the pack lures. And you don't even let the commons off the hook. We're even the crap or shit cards, dare I say, you're really diving into everything.
Yeah, and that's another thing that the artist study sort of brings to light is all those cards that you pass by in your booster pack because they're not playable or you're just looking for your rare. Like, sometimes those are the most interesting cards. And one of my mentors, Mike Linneman, who writes Orthos Mike on Gathering Magic,
sure.
He one of his main arguments is like, it's in the commons that the set is revealed. Like, you don't know what the plane of Kaladesh looks like until you go through all the commons, because you see those the most. So those cards are really representative of like the plane and the world and the story more so than the mythics, because the mythics show up far less in booster packs and such. And then typically will end up being a planeswalker or sort of like a very splashy card that doesn't rely on world building. So it's good to take time. And again, I think honestly, there's like 15,000 Magic cards or whatever. Like, there has to be a good story for all of them. And only once you do the research, you end up finding these really wacky stories of people either losing to the card or that one with nothing story that I told at the end. And that like blew my mind, like only Magic players would find a combo that wonky in the game. They would, what I mean. So
right.
So there's always something. That's kind of where I come from. It's like there's always something about each card.
And especially like this newest set that came out in Amonkhet, the art is just like on a different level. Not just because of the style, but now we're doing. It was commissioned where not only the cards got it, but also the tokens got. There was specific tokens for cards, which is incredible. Yeah. There was a big push from Jeremy Jarvis to make sure that happened. Excuse me. One of the art directors of the game. So we're very grateful for that they had the budget and the time to do that, because these artists are very pushed as it is to make art, and the upkeep is quite burdening for some of the artists, because you have to do like 5 or 6 cards per set, and there's like 3 or 4 sets a year, so it's quite a bit of work. So to be able to have, like, it's an embarrassment of riches, to be able to have the talent and also the time to be able to produce extra art for a set is nothing to take for granted, I don't think. Yeah, absolutely. And so, everything on your channel is like of the highest quality. It's super rich and aesthetically pleasing. And does your release schedule kind of contribute to that? Yes, absolutely. Like, I don't think I would ever, for $1 million, make more than 2 videos a month, just because a lot of time, like, I commit about 2 weeks to a video. So the first week I'll do a bunch of reading and researching and putting down ideas to try and figure out like what my argument essentially is, and then it becomes writing the script, which I think is like the most enduring sort of process. And so once you have the script done, you want to make sure that you gestate on it for a little bit. I think it's like any sort of process. Like, an author's not going to write a book in 2 weeks or a month or whatever. So a lot of the really subtle and nuanced changes happen over the course of 2 weeks. I'll start with an idea on one day, and then it'll be completely different by the end of the video. So, and I think that's only afforded with the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, even if I could edit a video in 1 day, it would never be as good as if I could do it in 5 days, because of all the time that I get to make those little changes and additions or subtract something. Or, for example, with the one with nothing video, I was initially, that end part was not supposed to be a part of the script at all. But, one of my Twitter followers pointed out that this story was a thing, and I had to include it. So being able to have that extra day to include it made all the difference for me. So, yeah, being afforded time, I think, is the most precious part of the process. That's excellent. Yeah, it really does show, because it shows kind of I'm not calling anyone out or talking bad. Do you, right? But you kind of see more of like the fast food kind of fast crankers, you know. I just got to put out content, no matter what it is. And I even kind of went through that where you just kind of got to sit down and say, what do I have time for, and what are people really enjoying? So, you know, I went from like, oh, I got to make a video every day to I got to make 2 videos a week, you know, and I might go down to 1 video a week. So I completely agree. But it's fascinating because not a lot of people take that road, I guess.
Yeah, I think there should be a shift. Again, everyone should do whatever makes sense to them. If that means making a video every day or whatever, that's great. But I personally don't have a lot of time in a day, so I would rather watch something that's very well produced, very well thought out, and watch 2 videos a day than watch 10 videos a day that are just very quick, rapid fire turnovers. So, to each their own. And I think different content works for different schedules. But luckily for me, I have the gift of time here, so.
Awesome. So I think I know the answer to this, but what is your favorite format, Sam, and just kind of your experience in competitive play?
Favorite format is EDH at the moment. I also really love limited, so that includes just like booster draft and cube. So any sort of limited format. I think it's fun to exercise like the deck building process and also competing in heads up Magic. Sure. So those are my like the most casual of formats, right? EDH and cube. But I'm definitely an EDH player. I mate every Sunday with 3 other guys and we play EDH together. So by now I have like 11 or 12 decks. Like those things just avalanche and snowball. But no real competitive play other than when I started playing. I was playing standard for like a year. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I just don't have the time or resources to do stuff like that. So I'd rather just play with friends over beers or whatever. So
excellent. So what's the kind of commander of choice right now? Is it Sig Cutthroat? Yes. Good. Yeah. No, it actually is. That deck is super, super fun to play. I'm sure my opponents are probably getting annoyed by it by now, but I think it's a blast to play. Just a classic like blue-black land go sort of archetype. And I actually just finished a new deck built around Numot the Devastator, that blue-white-red dragon. And the theme of that deck is tap and untap shenanigans. So that's going to be very dirtily and very probably annoying to play against too. But that's kind of my style of Magic. I don't want to make big creatures. I just want to make really, really weird, intricate plays that have a bunch of synergies and combos. The ultimate Johnny, if you will. Sure. And if I'm not mistaken, that's the one that blows up all the lands, right?
Yeah. When he deals combat damage, you can pay 2 in a red to destroy up to 2 target lands. But my play group doesn't like destroying lands very much. I think that ability will come in handy if there are like reliquary towers or the land that makes people lose hexproof and indestructible or whatever. Those kind of utility lands. But that's definitely not the main goal of the deck.
Okay. I was gonna say you want friends, right? I mean.
Yeah, I do. I absolutely do.
Yeah, the land destruction is don't do it, kids. Another thing that I've kind of picked up from you in the channel is fitness, especially running, is kind of a huge part of your life, right? So have you always been like athletically minded, or is this kind of a new experience, or?
Sort of. It came in high school and college just because everyone I was around was like going to the gym and trying to get stronger. And I think it's just good to lead like a good, healthy lifestyle, regardless if you exercise or not. So running now has sort of like taken over my life more than Magic has in the last like 2.5 years. Yep. It's become my main sort of outlet. It's really good to reset my mind. It's good for listening to podcasts. That's mostly how I consume my Magic content, is on runs. So I end up watching or listening to more podcasts than watching videos just because I can multitask while I run. But it's also good just to like get outside, and it's kind of its own world too. Like everything that goes on in Magic, there's probably a good analog in the running community. So we talk about pro runners, we talk about gear, just the same way we talk about card sleeves and play mats and stuff like that. So it's cool to see like people's communities like gravitate around their interests, and running provides that for me. And again, it's just good to after a day of sitting inside or whatever, it's just good to get outside and move your body and clear your mind. So
excellent. And you're quite good guitar player as well, and I see a bass in the background as well. So are you still playing music, or do you have a band going on, or what's going on?
Oh yeah, man, I've been playing guitar for like 15 years at this point. It's just something that I just like having something in my hands at all times. So if I'm watching a GP or whatever, I'll just be fiddling. That was like my first love, and that'll never go away. I think one of my friends called me a hobbyist was the best way to describe me. So treat this as just another like hobby, if you will.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I used to be in a shitty pop punk band, so...
no kidding. Who are your influences? Who are you trying to imitate?
Oh, I mean, come on. I'm 33 years old. I was doing it for the chicks at the time.
Of course.
Blink-182, Newfound Glory. I mean,
great.
You name it. I thought it was Mark Hoppus, man.
Oh man, that's great. He's a great role model to follow, man. I grew up on the same guys. So my favorite pop punk band ended up being the Matches. They're like a smaller pop punk band out of Oakland, and they came just like right after the pop punk sort of died. But they're very talented, very cool band.
Yeah, I was a big Rufio fan too, because I'm.
No way, really, Rufio?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm a bassist, so I mean he's like him and Matt from Rancid are like my heroes. It's like.
That's great. Dude, I was super into Rufio. That was actually like one of the first bands I saw at Warped Tour when I was 15. Because similarly, like those guys can just play so fast that if you're playing guitar and you just learned your first like power chord, and then you listen to Rufio and you're like, how does someone play that fast? Like, there's no way.
He's a technician. What was the band's or the song? Still, it's like da 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 da. Yeah, like this is everyone's like, what are you guys talking about?
Well, that record starts with Above Me. That's perhaps I suppose that's your first one. So Above Me is like the guitar song, and then you go to Still, which is like the insane bass song.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah. It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's awesome.
Passage when I got that bass line down, I was just like, I've arrived,
Oh yeah, it's a big level up moment for sure.
Yeah, and then Carousel, off Cheshire Cat from Blink, all the great bass lines and so we could go on off this for forever. This is a whole other kind of podcast, but
you're right.
All right, well let's rein it in. So at this point, Sam, we play a game. We usually play a game every week, and this week we're bringing back an old favorite, as we've done, and this is Face the D20. So the way this works is I have a 20-sided spin down, which I kept calling it dice, but then I got corrected from Aaron from Turn One Thoughtsy. So spin down, Aaron. But yeah, so we're gonna roll the dice, and each of these numbers signify a non-magic related question. And I believe one of the questions that I wrote for you is actually still magic related, so I apologize for lying to y'all.
It's all good. We're cool.
So, sir, are you down?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. Let's go ahead, and we have number 2. Wow, what a segue from our last geek out moment. Favorite music, style, and artist. I think we just kind of covered it.
You're right, but that was like 10 years ago.
Sure.
I'd say right now, definitely a progressive rock sort of guy. I just discovered a really fun band called Stolas, who are sort of what pop punk became once they found metal and progressive, very technical guitar lines.
I'm writing
Super
it down.
Cool band. Yeah, Stolas. Also a huge Chon fan, Chon. Incredible good music for the summer, very, very talented musicians, but mostly just anything with like interesting guitar lines or doing something that's pushing the genre in a new direction. So
sure, and I'm a little bit more big box than that, but I'm super into like Mumford & Sons right now, Death Cab, of course. I'm a big Postal Service guy, stuff like that. So we both kind of took the same progression in everyone starts with like Blink and then winds up at a certain area.
Yeah, totally. I remember listening to Postal Service for the first time, and I couldn't believe this was music that was being made. Like, I felt like they were 10 years ahead of the genre and of their trajectory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was so different from what I was listening to, like, entirely. So, good memories with that band too.
Oh my gosh, right? And I wish they would make another album, but it's not to be. But okay, Again, here we go again. Number 19. If you were president for one day, you would.
I would eliminate the colors white and green from Magic and just make it a Grixis only game.
But you're such a nice guy.
I sound just like Nicol Bolas, right?
Yeah.
I think he's the president of Amonkhet right now, so I'll just do what Nicol Bolas does. Grixis is love.
So he's got your vote, huh?
Absolutely, totally, 100%.
Oh,
No, if I was president for a day outside of Magic, what would I do? I would make sure everyone goes outside. Like, just turn off all your devices for a day and commit to being outside. That'd be awesome.
After the show, of course.
Oh, yeah. Let's finish the interview, then we go outside and play.
Yeah, then we'll go outside and play. All right, next one. That's 19 again, so we're going to go with number 8. Here we go. Ask the interviewer anything.
Ooh. Now I'm put on the spot.
Yeah.
John, let's see. John, what is your favorite card in Magic and why?
Ooh, man. I have to say, it's got to be my namesake. Probably Ghostad, Obsidian Goats Council. It was my first EDH deck. I'm a big Teysa fan as well, but I just loved the forecasting cost for a 5/5 fatty. You got the life. It's such a fun. I still have that EDH deck to this day. You know, it's got a bit more upgrades. I love Ghostad. So, I mean, Lingering Souls, Bitter Blossom, all that stuff. You know, I love the black-white tokens. I love Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize is one of my favorite cards ever printed because I'm a mean person, but, you know, that's it.
So you were my nemesis when I was playing Standard. I lost to Ghostad so many times and Return to Ravnica Standard, man. That card is impossible to deal with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was Mr. Esper Control, man. I loved Esper Control in Return to Ravnica block. You know, this is like I said, an ongoing theme in this show. It's just sending so much love to that. That was perfect Magic in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we all have a sweet spot for that era because it was very, very good. And so like Mono Black came along, and since then I don't know if there's been good Standard, but I digress again. You know.
Hey, I'm with you, brother. You got time for a couple more?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So number 11. Have you ever been in a fight?
Luckily, no. I, the old fight or flee reactions. I've decided to fight or flight or whatever. I've decided that flight is always the best option, which is why I started running. No, yeah, definitely not been in a fight. Hopefully Vegas keeps it that way. I hope there's not enough, a bunch of like salty, drunk Magic players that want to rabble rouse. But what I know of Magic players is they're usually pretty calm dudes.
I got your back, though. Don't worry about it.
Thanks so much, John. I appreciate that.
No problem. All right, number 5. This is a good one. Favorite book series?
Ooh, favorite book series. I can't say I like too many series. I'd have to go with the Divine Comedy by Dante. Because I'm an Italian studies PhD student, so he's sort of like the granddaddy of them all in terms of literature, and that's the only like book series I think I've read outside of like Harry Potter. Even though technically it's a poem, we'll call it a book series. So the Divine Comedy, that's Inferno, Purgatory, and Paradise.
Oh wow, that's excellent. That's I think the oldest book series that we've gotten a shout out to. So that's great. That's great. All right, one more.
Boy, yeah, the OG.
And number 4, I already know the answer to this, but your favorite alcoholic beverage?
Ooh, yeah, gin and tonic is the go-to. Like I said right before the show, I'm currently stuck on. Yeah, I like Moscow Mules. I've been on a big, for the longest time, man, I didn't like margaritas, but lately the guys I hang out with down here have got me into margs, and there's a really good jalapeno cucumber marg that a place downtown serves. And it's super, super good. I like spicy stuff, so jalapeno marg is kind of my jam right now.
Nice. Did you ever try the jalapeno or habanero sculpin?
Whoa, no. See, that might be too hot. So I don't know.
Hey, you said you like spicy.
Yeah, I like a tinge of spicy, but I don't want to suffer. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like drinking hot sauce.
Yeah. See, I'm not that masochistic drinker, but yeah, the default is gin and tonic. Gotta keep it classy.
Gotta keep it classy. Stay classy, Multiverse, which is I'm trying to make that happen. All right, man.
Yeah, I can dig that.
Yeah, man, you stay classy, Multiverse. I mean, I'm from San Diego too, so it kind of goes hand in hand. Is there any upcoming projects that you'd like to spoil for the group? This month's videos, like I said, I do two a month, and I like to do one card study and one artist study at this point. So my patrons will know that the next video I'm trying to study is on Lightning Bolt, one of the most iconic cards in Magic, of course. So I'm happy to commit a bunch of time to that this week, do a bunch of research, hopefully pull together some good video content for that.
And then the artist under question this month should be Raymond Swanland, because a lot of folks are have been pushing for him, which is cool, because that's another side effect of me making the artist study videos. You get a bunch of people who sort of are very passionate about one artist and they want me to do a video on them. So it shows me again that people do care about the artist and pay attention to it, and people have, their favorite artists. So that's been on the radar. A lot of people have mentioned his name, and I think now is the perfect time to do it. So those are my 2 videos this month. Hopefully we can do them this month. There's a bunch of things going on, including Vegas, but I think I'll be able to do it.
Excellent. Yeah. So Raymond Swanland, that's a huge one for me too. I love his art. I talk about some iconic pieces, right?
Yeah, no kidding. And yeah, he's been in the game forever too. So, and he has a very distinct style. So it's gonna be fun to point his stuff out. So
awesome, Magic Man Sam, ladies and gentlemen. Sam, thank you for planeswalking in and joining us on the Hive Mind. Where can everyone find you?
I am at Rhystic Studies on Twitter. I'm also at rhysticstudies.com, and I'm on YouTube at The Magic Man Sam. Those are my 3 hubs. I think Twitter is the best way to find me, and then the website is good for keeping up with anything I do. So yeah, it's been a pleasure as well. I'm stoked to hang out with you in Vegas.
Oh man, I absolutely can't wait. My name is John. You can find me on Twitter at OrzovDone. You can find me on the They Said We Said Facebook group, and you can also find me at They Said We Said on Instagram. So until next time, Planeswalkers, I will see you in the multiverse.